In my last video right here, I introduced this beast of a True Temper axe. This is a huge 36-inch handled axe, probably 4-pound head or so. I announced this project, and today we're going to get started. So you see we have this nice big workhorse of a head here. Rough edge, but not too bad. No serious dents or chips. It's just a little rough, right? The handle is absolutely gone. The head is wiggly loose on the haft. The handle's all smashed up. Wasn't a great handle to start with. Benchmark, it's reading, which I'm guessing is just a cheap hardware store handle. Grain was not the best, but so the first step here is to take off that haft and then assess the head and see what we've got here. So I have a normal procedure that I use for taking the handles out of the heads, so I'm going to show you guys that right now. So rather than trying to draw those wedges out, because the axe is still wedged, and the way an axe eye is it opens this way from the bottom of the head to the top, so the entire eye gets bigger at the top. So when you put a handle in and you wedge it, then the handle is too wide essentially to back out through the head. So that's the idea of a good wedge. Now even though this head is loose, it's probably not going to come all the way back out through there. So what I do is I saw my handles off flush right here with the bottom of the head, and then you can easily tap them out through the top because they want to come out through the top, right? That's the way they open, so that's the path of least resistance. So we'll cut it off here and let it out. I usually use an old scrap saw for this that I've kind of wrecked, and I cut because the saw teeth are butting up against the bottom of the head. I don't want to wreck one of my good saws, but today, since I can actually pull the haft out this far, I'll use one of my good saws to speed up the process. Now right here on the ledge of my workshop right by the window, I keep some of my main hand tools along with my axes and planes and whatnot. Lovely little record plane right there, my few spoke shapes. But right here behind this little Ardex hatchet head, have a look at that. Haven't seen that in a while. I handled it a little while ago, but I took the handle back off because I wasn't happy with it. I'm having trouble finding the handle because it's a tiny little hatchet head, but the eye is huge. It's about the same size eye as maybe a 1.75 pound head, and when this is a pound probably. So all the hatchet handles that you see in hardware stores and such have much too small of an eye, so I'm just going to have to carve one from scratch, I guess. So I'll move that out of the way. My two beloved hand saws here. Let me move that out of the way for you. I have two lovely hand saws. A nice crosscut. Not sure, there we go. We have a Disston crosscut right here. It's a beautiful saw, mildly restored by me and then sharpened by Ray Bartlett. Ray does a great job with these. So this is my crosscut, and behind that I have an absolutely beautiful Henry Disston ripping saw. So this saw is designed to rip material. If you notice this piece of 2x6 here, designed to rip material lengthwise. The teeth are designed a certain way for that. This is just a beautiful saw. Okay, so today, this is all brass hardware by the way. Today we're going to be using the crosscut which performs very nicely. And let's take that handle off. What we're left with now is this nice little head. So what we're left with now is this beast of a head here, and we have that piece of eye left in there. Now, depending on how well I've gotten handles that are axes that were the handles were beat up, but they were still hung extremely tightly inside the eye. So that might be the case with your axe. This one's pretty loose, so it shouldn't be tough. I'm just going to grab my hammer quickly. See if we can knock that out without a drift. Okay, so got it that far. Let me just give it a couple of clicks with. Okay, so it's not going to come out that easy still. They usually don't. They usually need a drift of some type just to give them a few knocks. Let me show you what a drift is. A drift is just some kind of tool, kind of laid out like a punch, that's smaller than the eye, that'll fit into the eye of your axe here, that you can knock that eye out with. Now, I've used other axe handles that I've shaved down to the right size before, different things like that. It just has to be small enough to get in there. You also want it to be nice and rigid. This is a bit longer than I'd like. I'd like to cut this one in half, but this is pretty hard steel, and yeah, I'm not willing to spend 30 minutes with a hacksaw right now to cut it in half. But let me show you how effective a tool like this can be. Now, this can be a lot easier with another set of hands, one person to hold the head like this, but I'm usually working by myself. So I'll take my drift, lay it in there, and then I'll hold the head like this, sometimes against my leg like I'm doing here. So notice that that's in there. Okay, and then I'll give a few cracks with the hammer, and sometimes it goes a little easier than other times. Looks like this one's actually going to be a little bit tougher than I thought. Okay, so after quite a few strikes, I finally got that eye out, and it is, see if I get a focus for you there, a nice clean eye. Very nice and smooth, not really any rust in there, so no issues in rehanging the head. Alright, so along with the wood I took out of the eye, there were a few more goodies. This is what was in that eye. No wooden wedge. There was a very large washer, two slightly smaller washers, and a sharpened screwdriver bit. That's what was wedging that handle in the eye. So obviously we were going to take that out and rehang it, even if the handle was nice and snug and in good shape. I would not keep my axe with that in there. I couldn't look at that. Now on to the head. So I've been debating what I'm going to do with this head. This is, like I said, is a very large head. It's got a lot of heft to it. It makes a great working head. So at first I think the idea was I was just going to rehang it on a good handle, clean it up and put edge on it and make it one of those kind of beat around the yard axes, you know. Just to do a lot of work. It's got a big head, so it'll be a great splitting axe. It has lots of meat here, but comes into a nice taper. Okay, so it'd make a great axe for that. Then I thought, well, why don't I take it a step further, you know, clean it up and remove some of the material, because you can see there's quite a bit of mushrooming on this axe, and I'm guessing it's because of its large size. It was probably used, just as I just said, an around the yard splitting and pounding axe. You can see if you look down on top of the head, you see that amount of mushrooming there. Check along here. fairly substantial. So I'm trying to debate if I want to take that off. If I do remove that, take out this big dip here, it's been pounded out so much that that True Temper logo is actually out on the mushroom now. The True Temper logo is actually bended out, which is interesting. But my most recent idea, and you can tell me what you think, I actually think I might take this head and completely sand it down. And I'm about to head out of town to my hometown for a little bit, which I have access to some of my father's tools and his garage and stuff. And I was thinking about taking the angle grinder, taking off all this mushrooming. I'd end up losing my logo, which is not a big deal. It's not a super valuable head, but it is a very nice head. Taking out all that mushrooming and then using some flat discs, some sanding flat wheel discs, to take off all this top coat here down, and maybe even sand it down to a perfectly smooth finish, maybe even a mirror finish. I've never tried a full mirror polish on an axe. Been wanting to do it for a while, and I'm wondering if this is the head for that. Okay? Let me know in the comments section, what do you think? You think I should just put an edge on it, put it on a good handle, and use it for a working axe? Do you think I should try, it'd be a good axe, sort of a trial and error axe to mirror polish? Or what level of work do you think I should do on this axe? Let me know in the comment section. Hope you liked this video, guys. Hope you got a little something from it or found it entertaining. Leave me a comment. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please hit the like button for this lovely axe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.